First thing I'm going to tell you is that Ruth Pierce is an organized candidate. She brought in some campaign literature for me today, and of course she is one of those candidates who's actually she's got a newspaper endorsement, and that's actually against a sitting member of the council, and she has a lot of support from a lot of people who have already served on that council in the past, some serving in the state legislature. But first of all, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much.
Want to point out it's 9:07:44 at our studios. Bill Colley with you as well on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. Election day comes up now. We're what, 5 days away.
Right.
And for a candidate in your situation, I'm sure that this weekend, number one, while a lot of people are thinking handing out candy, you've got to also be thinking about door to door, and so this is really crunch time in any
This is
campaign.
really crunch time, yes.
You've been around politics a lot. I guess this is you haven't run for a lot of offices, but you've
I,
been active in the community.
I've been very active in the community. I've lived here since 1978 and worked as a CPA for 37 years, owning my own firm. I've been involved with Southern Idaho Economic Development, Business Plus. I founded the Magic Valley Citizens 4th of July committees to save the fireworks, Twin Falls Rotary, Twin Falls Chamber, among others.
This morning, and this has been a topic that's been coming up a lot. There was a letter in the newspaper about the situation in Kimberly, and a lot of our candidates and even non-candidates who've been coming in from City Hall have been getting questions about this because sometimes what happens in a neighboring community will have an impact here. They have a big bond issue coming up Tuesday. That could have some impact on what we do with treatment here in the city. And I think Greg Landing was saying the other day there probably is going to be some sort of an increase in costs here if indeed the bond goes through there because we lose that customer. That's all part of this bigger growth issue that we have going on and how we manage that. When you look at this, what would you be doing as a council member that would better manage all of this?
Well, I think we really need to ensure our quality of life stays the way it is. I mean, all of us are here basically because of that. So I think we look at sustainable growth. Another issue we have is we need talent. Baby boomers are retiring. We need to attract younger people to our community. And so having some growth and doing some things downtown is really going to help.
You mentioned that talent. I had a friend from high school who wasn't sure what he wanted to do with his life. He became, as you are, a CPA. Then he ended up going to work for a laundromat chain, and then ended up buying the laundromat chain, and then became a very successful. So that's a talent. A lot of people look at that. They hear CPA and they think, "Gee, I don't know that doesn't sound exciting." But the fact of the matter is, it's a needed position, and it's a highly skilled position. And we, as you say, we need people like that just to help create the jobs that are going to maybe pay a little bit better in the area.
That's correct. And to be a CPA, you take a really rigorous exam, and then you have to keep up and have 40 hours of continuing education every year. So we have a lot to keep up on. The tax law has changed on the average every 13 months since I graduated from college. So
I was going to say, the government's really helping you out there.
yes,
The federal government,
that's
is.
right.
And for people, by the way, who'd like to know more about your campaign, most of the candidates I've noticed, if they don't have a web presence, they at least have a Facebook page.
I do have a Facebook page, Ruth Pierce for City Council.
You've got some interesting endorsements. We talked off air about the newspaper endorsement. From my perspective, I don't know how big that is anymore, but you have a lot of people. I think that we've seen a lot of people in state government as well getting behind your campaign.
Well, I've been very lucky. I've got a lot of support, and they're reaching out to me. I haven't had to ask for one contribution. I haven't had to ask for anybody to write a letter to the editor. So I've got a lot of support.
This is an interesting campaign in that we have a lot of candidates running sometimes just for one seat. And right now, you've got Rebecca Milsoika in that seat as the incumbent.
Correct.
What is it that you think that you can do better than Rebecca has done?
Well, I think I've got a strong business background, and I do understand the whole economic development process. I'm experienced, and I think my financial background really and business background is really huge.
Ruth Pierce, our guest in the studio. It's coming up on 9:12. It's 44. Bill Colley with you as well on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX and online at newsradio1310.com. And of course, if you have a comment or question for the candidate, you can reach us at 736-0300. The elephant in the room, and I'm probably one of those people who believes it's not going to have a huge impact on the overall outcome, but the elephant in the room in this community over the last 6 months has been the refugee program.
That's correct.
And a thought crossed my mind last night that a lot of the candidates have not wanted to really engage in talking about this because, you know what, I bet the refugees, a lot of them vote in high percentages where it seems most Americans anymore, it's troubling to get them to the polls. But is that having an influence on the fact that people are trying to like sort of dance the edge of the?
I'm hearing some talk. We had one question at the CSI political forum. Most people are concerned about some of this hate mail and stuff that's going out, and how it would, if somebody does a Google on our city, it would be bad news. It looks like, you know. And so I think it's something, I mean, it's a federal issue, but I do think it's something that this council needs to be aware of and listen to the citizens.
Does that mean that we should eventually have some sort of a public referendum, and if the public is overwhelmingly opposed, would you side with them in saying let's put a moratorium on it?
I don't know if we can do that because it is a federal program.
Do you support it? I mean, yes or no? Or?
Yes, frankly, I wouldn't be here if my father didn't flee Hitler, and most of us wouldn't. So I think if the federal government does their job and vets them out properly, I went to a panel that the Times News did at the college and listened to the police talk about low crime rate. They're taking jobs. They're even highly educated people are driving truck and they just, we can't even imagine what they've left. So I think, getting them involved in the community. I mean, they take jobs that nobody else will take.
No, you're following my line on this though, because my concern is that vetting process, and we have so many people saying we just simply don't know. I mean, and a lot of us we're not opposed, but we're worried about how well that works, and I don't know that the council has gotten answers.
Well, they did talk about that at the forum, and they had somebody from the federal government discuss it. And there's a time period where they have to do the background checks, and, they just don't get to come to the country. So, and I can't remember what the time period is, but
We're looking probably at several months. Um,
I think it's even years, a couple of years.
we're not going to dwell on that because everyone else has addressed it too as
Yes.
well. And I think that there's a lot of other things. As I have said, I think people are voting for snow removal, potholes, and does the water come on? We got about 5 minutes to go. When you look at this election year, if you had to say what's my priority, what is the top thing that you think that the city really needs to address? Because it's not all obviously coming up roses.
Well, there's several priorities. We need to stay fiscally responsible. We need to continue to have an open and transparent government. One thing that is a concern with me is our roads. Our population doubles every day by people coming in to work or shop or whatever, and we, the taxpayers of Twin Falls, are paying for the roads. Infrastructure's also a concern. We just want to make sure that we don't lose sight of what we have. We protect our water and our other resources.
I was going to say, when we talk about streets, that heavy truck traffic, especially downtown, has taken a toll. And the other thing I notice is sometimes if you hit those drainage areas, it's tough on the automobiles. There's
Yes,
got to
I
be a
did.
better way to handle all this.
Well, they're talking about maybe routing the trucks outside downtown. And I tell you, I work downtown and I walk downtown, and I've seen some trucks barreling down Second, and you think, what speed limit are they going?
Yeah, the speedway's out near the airport.
Right,
We have a caller
correct.
if you want to pop on the headset. Telephone number, in fact, is 736-0300. We have about 3 minutes left with Ruth Pierce, candidate for Twin Falls City Council. And you're up next. You're on the air. No, I'm going to try this line then. Somebody there jumped the ship. You're on the air on News Radio 1310 KLIX, and what's on your mind?
Good morning. I just have a question. Are all these refugees that are coming in, are they Muslim, all of them? I have a lot of sympathy for the Christians over there. They're being killed too. And I'm just wondering, are there Are we taking all the refugees, or we just are they all Muslim, or what?
No, believe we're taking refugees from all countries. If you look at the refugee center, there's Bosnians and there's a lot of other countries, and they're focusing on the Muslims right now because that seems to be the issue, and that again is where the vetting process is really, really important.
And in response to that, as I understood it from what I was reading about the program doesn't always know who's coming. They're just a group of people get assigned, right? Is that how that works?
Believe so.
And they probably, even the people who are coming here, a lot of them probably don't really get a choice of where they're being sent as well, I would imagine.
That I don't know the answer to.
Because if you're dividing them up, I don't know if someone says, do you want Spartanburg, South Carolina, or Twin Falls, Idaho? I don't think that that's a choice involved in all of that.
You may be right.
And the FBI director, he's the one who said at a hearing a couple of weeks ago, he's concerned about IDing people. And even the governor, I know, had said that we should probably consider a suspension, at least, of the program until we figure it all out.
Well, I think if that vetting process is done properly and we really understand it, that's what's important.
We're talking a little bit about streets. If we can get back to a little bit of the infrastructure, we've got about a minute and a half left. For people out there who you talk to, what sort of reaction are you getting from on a lot of these growth issues?
The talent, finding employees, finding good employees, and there some of our existing businesses are losing employees to some of these new companies, and so they're concerned about how to attract business. And the other thing is millennials and Gen Xers are different than baby boomers, and we have to market to them different, and we have to have different criteria. So I think that we're just in the process of trying to educate people on there is a difference.
Quickly again, for people, we've got about 20 seconds to go. For people who'd like to know more about the campaign, that Facebook presence again is
Ruth Pierce for City Council.
They're fairly simple to find too,
Right.
because I think your computer knows by your IP address. If there's another Ruth Pierce running in some other city, it'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, I think it'll get it.
I want to thank you for coming by
Well,
today.
thank you for having me.
And I want to remind people too, on Tuesday night, Benito Baeza and I will be in studio, and we will be bringing results from the various elections across the Magic Valley. So if you're looking for those, you can tune in that evening, and you can find them here. You'll also be able to find them online at newsradio1310.com.